guys doing? Welcome to Phie.Love Intuitive Conversations. I hope you guys are good. Yeah. If you like my content, please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, if there's any negativity, if there's any hate, please do keep that on your side of the street, okay? It won't be acknowledged. So, family, in this video, the message from Spirit is don't run away from your blessings. Okay? Don't run away from your blessings. Sometimes our blessings aren't exactly the things that at first contact make us feel good, right? Give us a sigh of relief, or look to us what it may seem like in the biblical sense, right? The programming is to see blessings as something that make us feel good. But when a blessing is something that has you in the thick of things, it's not exactly the easiest, it's not exactly easy to perceive until you reach the point of being in hindsight, where you can look back and be like, oh my goodness, it was actually a blessing, right? Now, oftentimes, we tend to, well, the inclination generally is to run away from things that make us uncomfortable, right? One of the biggest issues that Divine has with humans, one of the biggest issues that Divine has with humans is our fear of discomfort, right? The fear of discomfort, the inclination to run away from things that make you feel uncomfortable, the inclination to run away and avoid things that challenge you, right? You'll only generally do it if you don't have a choice. But if the choice is there to either be challenged or to go the other way, or to have to endure, persevere, or go through, or face yourself, or confront something within yourself, if there's the choice to do that or go the other direction, most people will choose the other direction, right? So these things that we can be faced with are also divine blessings. If it requires you to grow, if it requires you to transform, if it's there to challenge you, right? It puts you into a position of having to challenge yourself. It puts you into a position of maybe having to be independent, right? In situations where generally you might be dependent or move towards a solution that puts you into a place of dependency, right? Or is a reflection of your dependency, which is also, some of those things are not easy to look at within ourselves, not easy to admit that we're dependent, right, in situations, or have become dependent on people and things that we actually do have the option to be independent, right, and to handle certain things independently. If something comes into your life that maybe requires you to work on your temperament, to drop your ego, to release an old belief system, way of thinking, something that's requiring you to overcome the fear of letting go, releasing, detaching, right? Um, these are the kinds of things that we find ourselves faced with in life, that when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the situation that requires you to make the decision, when you're in the situation that requires you to move into a higher perspective that will allow you to make a decision, right? That will be a reflection of you breaking a cycle, be a reflection of you growing, be a reflection of you transforming, be a reflection of you doing what you wouldn't normally do, right? Don't curse the situations. Don't run away from them. Learn to become courageous for the difficulties or the challenges, or where you normally resist within your dynamics between you and other people, where you normally shut down when somebody on the outside of you might be speaking sense, but because maybe what they're saying challenges your ego, challenges your personality, challenges a belief system, challenges the way you see yourself, challenges, your resistance to want to change, challenges your insecurities, requires you to maybe move into a place where you take accountability, where you look at yourself and actually have to grow. The nagging girlfriend. Oftentimes, young men get so frustrated with the nagging girlfriend who may always come across and be translated as the one who is criticizing their character, right? Character assassinating them, or they're translating the nagging girlfriend as something that you need to defend yourself against, something you need to run away from, instead of actually taking a step back and listening to the substance, right? The moment you start feeling like someone's attacking your character, someone's attacking a belief system that you have within yourself, someone's attacking your idea of stability, or a way of being that you don't want to change, or that you in your ego believe you don't have to change or evolve out of or grow out of, or something that you don't want to recognize might be a reason for discomfort or issues or certain cycles in your life that you're going through. It's not easy to step back and take the substance out of what somebody's saying, and ask yourself, well, is this actually an issue within me? Is this something I could change? If I actually dropped my ego, dropped my defenses, took the time to actually sit with my own beliefs, the belief systems I hold, drop my ego, could this actually benefit me? Maybe not me being stuck in a mindset of thinking I have to change for somebody else, but maybe the divine is using somebody on the outside, right? Maybe it's the divine speaking in the substance of someone's nagging on the outside to get me to look within myself and transform. But my ego and my inclination to always defend myself, my belief that my belief systems around girlfriends and boyfriends and whatever it might be, have me resistant to actually being able to take in the substance that someone is saying, and because of how I've labeled them and how I've categorized them within society and within my friend groups and whatever it might be, I'm resistant to actually taking in information that might be to my benefit. It can be a blessing the nagging girlfriend, some of the things she's pointing out to you might be a blessing to you, might be the divine trying to wake you up in time to transform something, because there's an opportunity on the outside of your relationship that you might need to be able to recognize or engage in. The situations you find yourself in that challenge you, that put you into a place to have to transform, that put you into a place to have to grow. There's life after them, okay? And what comes after them is generally what they are actually preparing you for. But if you don't get past the situation, if you don't learn to overcome the situation by going within and looking at yourself and recognizing, what is the situation trying to mirror to me? What is this that's frustrating me? What is this that I'm resistant to? What is this that's giving me stress, that's putting me into a place of defense, that's knocking on my ego, that's making me want to fight, right? That's making me want to get into the next person's face, that's making me want to get revenge, that's making me want to retaliate. What is it triggering within me that I maybe need to overcome and look at? What is it irritating inside me that maybe if I transform might open me up for something else on the outside that I need to be open to, might put me into a vibration, might help me develop and work on my temperament, because there's something else in my outside world that's coming that requires me to have a better temperament, that requires me to actually go through the lesson of overcoming a certain aspect in myself so I can be in alignment. In the past, when I was going through, when I was in the thick of things and I needed some grounding, and I found myself in negotiations of, this is still early on in my awakening process and going through whatever I was going through. And I found myself in negotiations because I was in this space and place in my life where everything about me, within me, was being challenged. Everything, things that I'd normally be able to do, I couldn't do. Things about myself, all kinds of things were being challenged, and I needed some grounding. And eventually, I work closely with the divine. So I had the divine put a quote from David Icke in front of me, and the quote says, "Sometimes our greatest gifts are disguised as our worst nightmares." Okay, generally your worst nightmare is the thing that you're most afraid of. Your worst nightmare is the situation that you make decisions around to have to not unconsciously, right? Things that you're so scared of, the things that you build your life around, that are cushions and contingencies to make sure that you don't actually fall into those spaces and places that you're afraid or have built up in your head as the worst nightmare, right? And I'm sure there are more than 2 or 3 situations that you can come up with for yourself, because the programming that many are in is all fear-based, right? There's a lot of nightmares people are afraid of that keep them hooked in all the cycles and the consumerism and whatever it is. But let me not digress. So sometimes what seems like your worst nightmare can be your greatest gift, can be the greatest blessing. But you need to be able to get to the point of your situation where you can be in hindsight and recognize that was a blessing. It was difficult to get through. It was hard to look at myself. It was hard to overcome. It was a hard decision to make because of all the ideas I had and bought into in my mind that made me afraid, that creates a limitation for me, right? But I overcame them. I made the decisions I was afraid to make. I let go. Like, I made the decision that that challenged me to grow. I made the decision that helped me transform myself, my mind, my energy, and my decision making. But you have to actually go through the challenges that you yourself have actually set up and created for yourself. You've co-created every single issue that you find yourself in your life, whether you want to believe it or not. You've attracted it in, you've created it on some level because of your own energy and your inner state of being, and your sequence of decision making that leads to a certain point, puts you into a certain space and environment and situation in a certain place and time, right? And again, if you run away from it, you're just going to continue in the cycle of your decision making that will lead you to another point in time that will face you with the same issue, the same situation, the same environment, the same kinds of people. And you're going to have to make the decision and go through whatever it is and overcome yourself or something eventually, right? So in this video, the divine is asking you, please start learning to not run away from things that seem at first engagement like something you would like to run away from. Don't run away from it. They're also your blessings. Okay? Those things transform into blessings. Those things help you progress in this experience of Earth School. So, again, at first glance and at the lowest level of understanding, it may always feel like it's happening to you, but it is on a higher level all happening for you. It may feel like God isn't on your side. It may feel like the divine, like you're being punished, having to face yourself, right? Having to drop your ego, having to digest the truth that somebody is telling you, who generally, you shut down when they speak. You shut down, you label them as assassinating your character. All the reasons in the world to not face yourself. All the reasons in the world to not consider something might be true. All the reasons in the world to not, look at yourself and maybe consider the way others see you, even if it isn't always the most pleasant thing or what you want to hear. You can only change and you can only make the right decisions and move in the right direction when you're willing to look at and face the truth. Your mental defenses will have you want to cushion yourself from the truth. Everybody's programmed to live in a fairy tale, to live in a curated experience that is always that's designed to move you towards what's pleasurable, right? Whatever is soothing. Because the truth of your reality sometimes, the truth of knowing that you don't know, the truth of the unknown, the truth that exists and that is the reality outside of your ego and the illusions you exist in, is difficult to actually find grounding in and accept. It is. So Don't run away when your belief systems are being challenged. Don't run away and make excuses when you're being faced with situations that require you to let go and see the blessings in situations that assist you in working on your temperament, working on the aspects of yourself that you operate out of unconsciously, because working on all those things only put you into alignment for your better, higher timeline and whatever the divine might have for you in the future, right? Your wives and your girlfriends, to the younger men out there, even older men, they're not your enemies always, okay? Sometimes they're just a mirror. They're a mirror, and sometimes they don't deliver in the best way, but like I've said before, try to separate the person, the theatrics, the emotions from the substance, and for your own benefit, see how the universe is giving to you in substance to help you elevate, okay? You don't want to be missing opportunities and not able to recognize things that are there for you in your environment or coming because you didn't take the time, or you were too up in your ego, you were too defensive, you were too tense, you were too, not unwilling when the situations that came into your life to help you work those things out, you were resistant to, because you're programmed to run away from them. You're programmed not to see them as blessings. You're programmed to see them as threats to your existence, as threats to your sense of self and your belief systems and your idea of self and your ideas of what you think the outside world sees you as, right? Your ego and your personality. You're only your own limitation. You are your biggest limitation before anybody else on the outside there that you are programmed to generally point the finger at. My mother, my father, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my dog. Right? Everything else. So don't squander the opportunities you have to ascend. Don't squander the opportunities you have to evolve, transform, and grow. And be willing to accept and understand and see as well. It's a blessing if the divine brings somebody into your life that challenges you to grow, challenges you to question your own belief systems, challenges you to consider a new perspective, challenges you to engage different parts of yourself that maybe the people you surround yourself with don't. The people you surround yourself with keep you limited and comfortable, won't tell you the truth, won't call you out on your bullshit, won't tell you when you're going too far, dependent on your money or whatever it is. So keeping you in the state that keeps them, where they need you to be, that keeps them in the positive and comfort for their lives. You'll never ever have the truth told to you. And if you're surrounded by people who are just like you, worried about what the outside world thinks, worried about rocking the next person's boat with the truth, unable to draw a line, unable to recognize when something's done and over, staying in cycles of relationships, it's not to your benefit, okay? It's not to your growth, and it's not bringing you into alignment for a higher timeline and a different opportunity and a different experience at all. see people also who bring change as a blessing. The divine, you also run away and you judge those people because they affect your insecurities. They affect your sense of authority. They affect your stability and what you think you know about your life. People coming in with new perspectives, new beliefs, systems, or something that makes you have to question your own reality, right? Don't see always the nagging girlfriend as a negative. Sometimes she is a blessing. She's telling you things that maybe other people on the outside won't tell you. She's awakening you to things that she can see that maybe you don't want to recognize. Don't see it as it not being a blessing when you're put into situations that require you to depend on yourself and be reliant on yourself. See it as a blessing if somebody decides to step away from supporting you. It may be difficult in the beginning, but down the line you'll be grateful for it. Okay, so don't always see these things that challenge you, these things that develop you, the things that transform you, grow you, and evolve you as things that are not blessings, things that require you to engage in being courageous, things that require you to, again, work on your temperament, things that require you to take initiative, to persevere, to endure, to be creative, to learn what it is to sacrifice a little bit, to build your tolerance for certain things as well, and people and certain situations. That's the stuff that grows you. Humans get comfortable. The divine will not allow you to be comfortable for too long, because when there's comfort, you don't grow. You become stagnant. You become stale, right? So the divine will shake things up. The divine will challenge you. You will naturally even attract that girlfriend or that boyfriend or that friend or the family member in that will ruffle things up for you, so that you can at least look at yourself and also have aspects of you challenged that you always avoid being challenged, that you avoid not having someone poke at, so that you can work out the trigger, right? It's all a blessing. Even though they're toxic as hell, you need them to be toxic as hell, so you can look at yourself, evolve, and make decisions that if they were not toxic, you wouldn't make and move away from, and build yourself up so that you can also navigate yourself in other areas of your life ahead of you, right? So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to pull a card today from, I'm pulling a card from the Don Miguel Ruiz and Don Jose Ruiz with Janet Mills deck. Okay, the Fifth Agreement. Let's see what the divine has here. So let's see what the divine has to support our conversation, or to give somebody who's watching our video a nudge in a specific direction. Okay, let's see. Let me please have one card. Thank you. I follow every instinct I was born with. Okay, so pay attention to yourself. Now that you've listened to this video, the divine will probably, amplify certain feelings in you when you find yourself confronted with something that's challenging you, something that's being put in your way, requiring you to look at yourself, requiring you to grow, requiring you to pay attention to the substance that's coming out of someone's mouth, and not the emotions and the theatrics and whatever else your belief systems and labels are that you've placed on them, right? Listen to yourself and your instinct. Work on your temperament and just try and learn how to take the substance of the situation and use it to your own benefit. It's a blessing. Okay. The divine is working with you through other people. You're receiving your blessings through other people. And it isn't always in the nice wrapping. Sometimes the treachery in other people that you need to face and overcome and deal with in your life is the blessing. Okay. So I follow every instinct I was born with. And if your instinct and your inclination is to run away, stop running away. You only run away when there's danger. Okay? The card says, the wisdom of my instincts guides me to be happy, to enjoy life, to play, to love, and to fulfill my needs. Okay? So, don't torture yourself. But in the same breath, sometimes to get to the good part, you need to work out and work through the hard stuff. Work out and work through the portion of your life that is made up of all the lower aspects of you, right? And all the things that are able to highlight the lower aspects of you and the decisions that you've made out of the lower aspects of you. You need to overcome them so you can align to the other higher part that you evolve into, right? And have that also be mirrored to you within your environment. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. I hope it's resonated, and I'll see you in the next video, okay?